All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Another episode. Rocking with you here on what is today? Tuesday. When you get to a certain age, man, the days just start, you know, the days just come together, man. But shout out to everybody, rate, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it. So today was NFL cut day. No big surprises there. I would say the biggest transaction that happened, two biggest transactions were Chauncey Gardner Johnson was traded from the Saints to the Eagles. If you remember, this is the guy who called uh, who called Michael Thomas on the Saints slant boy and made Michael Thomas so mad that they fought and got kicked out of practice and got suspended. I think he broke his wrist or something like that. So this guy just has a history of instigating, try to start a fight with the Panthers. He's just a hooligan, but he's a good player. I guess he tried to get a contract extension, couldn't get it. They traded him to the Eagles. The Eagles are building up one hell of a team. Like I said yesterday, it all depends on Jalen Hurts. If he is good enough, if he can take a leap, if he doesn't even have to take a Josh Allen leap. If he takes just I'm a Dak level player quarterback. I'm a Kirk Cousin level player at quarterback position. They're a Super Bowl favorite to me in the NFC. I've been giving a lot of difference to the Bucks, but with all the injuries on the offensive line, with how Tom Brady has been talking recently, I just can't say that anymore. And the Packers, they haven't fixed their receiver issues. So they haven't solved that riddle to me. So that was the biggest thing there. The Raiders cut Leatherwood, first round draft pick under the Mayock Gruden regime. They had three number one picks, Arnett, Leatherwood, and Ruggs. All three of them are not playing in the National Football League currently. We'll see if Leatherwood gets picked up, but it's just been a woeful draft. And I think that this idea that you're going to bring guys off of the TV booth and have them, try to be announcers. I mean, I think that completely ends that. There's not going to be any more of that. This kills all that noise. The Gruden hire was controversial to say the least when he got hired, and it's just been a shamakri. Speaking of John Gruden, he came out today and said the emails were shameful, but he's a good person. He talked about himself being married and he has kids. See, and he deserves a second chance. See, this is the thing. John Gruden is a footballaholic. He loves football. He sleeps. He's a legendary light sleeper. I think he sleeps 3 hours a day. That's no cap. That's what he actually does. He sleeps 3 hours a day. So his whole life is football. His sons worked for the Raiders, and he's like out in the purgatory right now. He was at an Arkansas Razorback, thing, and it's not surprising that he was at that because he's completely banished from the league. Once you sue the league, you're not getting back in. Once you put your pen to paper to sue the league, you're not getting back in. Go ahead and find yourself a seat. I would say sit by Kaepernick, but you don't like black people. So go ahead and find a seat somewhere else. You're not getting back in the league, right? So, but this is the thing though. I think he can coach college football. He's going to have to swallow his pride. I'm sure that's probably not what he wants to do, but I think he's going to have to, he can coach college football. I think that's why he was hitting on the family values thing. College football, they're so aggressive. If he's willing to take one of these lower tier SEC jobs, like the Arkansas, they were pretty good last year. We'll see if they can follow that up. But say like if Tennessee falls flat again this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets one of those type of gigs. He loves football, and I don't think he's going to try to go away from it. So that was interesting to me, the verbiage that he used, stressing the family values, doing it, this first time he's talking publicly was at a college football event. I just think that it's just 1 and 2 equals 3. I think he's going to try to get a college football job, probably an SEC job, and the SEC, because of how competitive it is, like a Missouri, one of those lower tier SEC schools. I could see him, trying to, clean up the mess that he made and try to say, hey, I'm a good guy, I'm reformed, I changed, give me a second chance. So I see that. Nothing particularly, like I said, besides on the cut down day, besides that. So let's go ahead and get into the team preview. So yesterday I did the NFC East. So let's do the AFC East. So I'm guessing, I don't even have to see it, the major favorite. It's only minus 215. I mean, unless Josh Allen gets hurt, this is obviously the team that's going to win it, the division. They're Super Bowl or bust, the Bills. It just came out today that Tre'Davious White is going to start the season off on the PUP. So that might be something to watch out for. They invested in Von Miller. So they're hoping that with him and Rousseau and with the kid that they drafted at Houston, the D tackle, that they can finally get some pass rush going and be a more complete defense instead of a conservative defense. Because if you're going to win these big games, you got to get to the quarterback. The Super Bowl, Aaron Donald into the Super Bowl by completely, blowing up the guard and the center. That's on the final play where he got after Joe Burrow. That's the way that you win Super Bowls, with pass rush. That pass rush has to get there. It just has to. Another question for them would be Gabriel Davis. Is he ready to assume the number 2 spot as well? But I think that they're the prohibitive favorite in this division, minus 215, where it's you would have to, if you bet 100, you would get probably like $46 back. That's not that bad of a bet, but again, if you like them, it doesn't make sense to plunk down all this money and wait for a whole season to get it back. You can just bet 2 Bills games and you would get that money. Get more than that. So the next is the Dolphins. Everybody's hot on the Dolphins. Tua Mania, Mike McDaniels, he's going to install Shanahan's system. I find this funny that, one, people are just automatically assuming, hey, he coached with Shanahan, so he can install Shanahan's offense. Not only is Shanahan an installer of offense, he's a great situational play caller. How do you know this guy can do any of that? Like, they're making it seem like this guy's the best thing since bread was sliced. And I mean, hey, he got quote unquote the credit for installing the run, but just because you sat next to the guy doesn't mean you're the guy, right? I've talked about this with the Patriots, who's up next. There's been a lot of people who sat next to Bill Belichick and won Super Bowls. They all fell on their face when they went out in the world to try to do it on their own. Besides probably Bill O'Brien, he's been the most successful one. So what is this whole idea that this guy automatically is going to bring in this offense? They fixed the offensive line, so to speak. They brought in one player and brought in another one. This was the worst offensive line rated in PFF's history. And I think that their service is a little bit overrated, but they are good at line play. That's one thing that they are good at, telling you who's good and not, who struggles. They do know line play. And their line is atrocious. So is Armstead is a guy who's been getting hurt often. Is he enough to say that the line is fixed? Because even with this, intricate run game and, the boot actions and all this good stuff, the Niners still invested in the offensive line. They have Trent Williams, who is one of the best left tackles in this league's history. So just to say that, hey, we're bringing in this guy and we signed one guy, that everything is going to be all good, I think that's crazy. Another question is, this has been a team that's hung their hat defensively. Brian Flores, defensive coach. Are they just going to be able to run everything back, and are we just not going to miss a beat? Is that how it's going to work? Are you sure? And then lastly, the Shanahan system, I've talked about it. Quarterback struggle, the boot actions. Tua never has played in a system like this where you're booting out and rolling out and throwing on the run. Are you sure? There's a lot of hype around this team. They got Cheetah, they were dominant in that preseason football game. But preseason, I don't mean nothing. I remember, again, I told you guys this before. Remember when Blake Bortles was a rookie and he was dominant? Oh, Blake Bortles got to start. Is Blake Bortles in the league anymore? He had a dominant preseason. Preseason. Nobody's trying to show nothing. Everybody just trying to get out of there with people not hurt. Let's see what the young boys and the people on the bubble of the roster can do, and let's not get hurt. So I don't believe preseason. They have weapons. I agree. They have weapons. I agree, but you can't just automatically say that they're going to be a team, a playoff team. I've heard a lot of hype around them. I don't know about that. The Patriots, I'm out. The further and further we're getting away from the Tom Brady era, the trasher and trasher this looks. They tried to blame it all on Cam Newton. Oh, Cam was sorry. We got our boy Mac Jones in, went to the playoffs, got and I have to preface this. You went to the playoffs after spending a record amount of money in the previous season. They spent over $150 million in contracts and getting Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry and Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar. So they added players onto the roster, got 3 more wins, and got shellacked in the playoff game. Just completely blown off the ball. Is it going to be any better? Bill Belichick is playing, it doesn't matter to me in the background because he has a defensive coordinator calling the plays on offense, and an incompetent defensive coordinator at that. Not a guy, hey, this guy is, highly talented. This is a smart guy. This guy, let's see if he can spread his wings on the defensive side of the ball. No. Someone who went to the Lions fell flat on their face. Now, you've never called offense before in your life. I'll let you call offense now. Bill O'Brien was there. He didn't sign him. I don't understand what's going on in New England. I don't understand what's going on. No talent, bereft of talent. The further and further that we get away from Tom Brady, we're going to have to start asking some serious questions about Bill Belichick. And the Jets are plus 200. I mean, they have a lot of interesting players at key positions. So it's all about this season. It wouldn't surprise me if they won the division, if like Josh Allen gets hurt for a game or two, which is not out of the realm of possibility because they're running him so much. I did one of the 3 questions on them. That's one of the first teams I did. And one of the questions I asked is, are they going to develop a run game ever? Because running your quarterback is not a way to succeed long-term. He's going to get hurt. So, hey, what if they run Josh Allen too much? He gets hurt. I think the Jets can, because they have young players at almost every position. They needed pass rush. They drafted a young rusher in Jermaine Johnson. They needed a receiver. They drafted a receiver in Wilson. They drafted a running back. You have Zach Wilson in his second year. They have key players, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Sauce Gardner, at the cornerback position, who had an immaculate preseason from all accounts. Is this team going to be good enough at these spots? If they hit blow-up spots like the Saints, remember a couple of years ago, the Saints had this blow-up draft where every player that they drafted, let me see if I can find it. Saints draft Marcus Williams. I know Marcus Williams in that draft. 2017 drafts. Was it 2017 draft? So they drafted Marcus Lattimore in the first pick, Pro Bowler. Second pick, Pro Bowler, and Ryan Ramczyk. Third pick, Marcus Williams, still a starter for them. Fourth pick, Alvin Kamara, one of the best running backs in the league. fifth round pick, Alex Anzalone, who still starts for them. Seventh round pick, Trey Hendrickson, I think, who was their second best pass rusher last year, had like 11 sacks. So if they have a draft like that, this is a once in a lifetime type draft, but if the core players that they've picked at these positions that they need production for them, if they all produce, this team could be on, man. This team could be on. All right, so I'll go ahead and leave it there with it. AFC East. We'll do the West tomorrow. I'll put the link up for my new YouTube channel, my one where I'm gonna be doing TV talk and breaking down short videos. I'll put the link on that in the next podcast. But look out for that as well. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Game's game.